and welcome back to my workshop journey. And before we start, I know I teased about this last time, but now is the time for the big reveal. You've seen how this project has been going on, and I just wanted to highlight what inspired this project in the first place and what I'm aiming to do. So without further ado, let me just take you through what inspired me and what we're going to do next. This is the project that I'm trying to recreate. It's a sewing table that my wife inherited from her parents, and I thought it would be nice to just try and do something similar. So very simply constructed. You've obviously seen how I'm making the project at the moment. There will be differences, but this is my take on this table cabinet that belongs to my wife. So see what you think when I've finished the project, and we can look at them side by side. And now let's get back to the workshop and we'll carry on with the project. So you've seen what I've done. This is the reason why I'm doing it, and so you saw me starting the banding last week and carrying on with that this week, putting the second pair of strips in, and then going to prepare everything on the top for the panel raising. So without further ado now, let's crack on. This is how we left it last week, with these first two pieces of banding in place. So if you remember last week, this was just gluing up, and then I'm going to recut these 4 channel intersections, and then I can put the second pair of banding pieces into place. Now I deliberately left the fence and the router cutter as we left it last week, so today it's just a case of putting that straight through. And of course I've only just realised this banding is sitting proud by about 1/2 millimetre, so the cutter will need to go up slightly to compensate. I'm glad I'm working through this. So that works fine. I've just got to raise the cutter now sufficiently so that that needs cutting as well. Okay, I'd gone and forgotten I'd trimmed one end of both pieces of banding, but I hadn't trimmed the other end. So I've just taken that through the bandsaw just to trim everything off. Everything will now need a pass through the jointer. That was a suggestion that my neighbour Tim made after last week's video. So just to take everything down 1/2 millimetre maybe on the jointer, and then everything will be nice and square. But right, the banding is now cut to length. As I said earlier, just raise the cutter slightly so that it fits in with the existing channels. Right, that's that done. Feather boards into place. And I do keep mixing those two sets of screws up, but that's fine. Mustn't forget to, oops, wrong one. Get the vacuum set up. And that's that one. Into that end. Into the dust extraction port on the router. Power is on. Right, ears on. There was a slight wobble there, but we can sort that one out. Okay. Two new pieces of banding. And that is a nice fit. Right, the fit is nice. Just glue those up, and while that glue is going off, I can then get sorted out for the panel raising. Sorry, the jointer. Yeah, that's got that one. Just fill in the one or two of these little gaps with the glue, just to give it a little bit extra strength. There we go. top on. Just wipe up the excess. And clamp. There we go. We'll leave that to harden. I'll tidy up and then we'll come to setting the jointer up. Okay, we're ready for just taking these edges down. I've glued the second pair of banding strips in. That glue is going off. Hasn't gone off completely. There's still one or two little damp patches, but that's fine. I've cut them all to length, and so now I've adjusted the cutter so it's only going to take off about ½ mm at each pass, and that'll tidy everything up nicely. Here we go. Right, that's taken the 4 sides down, but you'll have noticed that on this corner in particular there was quite a bit of tear out. I'm not particularly worried about that because a lot of that is going to be taken care of when I use the panel raise cutter, and everything else will smooth out gently. I know I had said I'm going to take this top down with the panel raise. What I'm going to do first, I think, is just sand this flat, because then everything will lie and the cutter will take that off nicely. Or I can just raise the cutter slightly. I've run a test strip. That's the panel raise that I'm going to be using, and just to show you how that will look, it's roughly the same thickness, so that's going to come down like that. So a nice little ogee with a ridge just here, and I'm happy with the way that test went. Now, do I sand first, or do I just raise the cutter ever so slightly? I think, no, I will raise the cutter ever so slightly and then just take that down. Okay, next step. The correct side is in contact with the table. I've raised the cutter about 1 millimetre. That is giving me just a slightly deeper cut at this top end, but I've done that to compensate for the banding that at the moment is sitting proud of the workpiece. So, and the result of the panel raise, a little bit of burning, but that is just what I wanted. A nice contour to the banding here down the edge. All these little bits will be tidied up in sanding, and I'm pleased with that. The little bit of burning will come out with sanding, and yes, I'm very happy with that. That is going to look very stylish on top of the box. Right, let's get it cleaned up. And that's me done for today, and got to a good point. We've done the top. All I need to do now is sand that. Next thing to do will be to sand the top. Then I'm going to put some detailing on the carcass itself. I'm going to be either putting chamfers or roundovers on all of the internal corners of the piece. Then I can cut the legs to length, and so that the top will fit flush. Then it will be a case of cutting the hinge recesses, and that reminds me, I have to source some hinges for this and other ironmongery as well. So that's the course of the progress that I'm aiming for, and we are well over halfway, in fact over 3/4 of the way now, I think, of finishing the project. But it's just a short one today. We haven't done much by way of quantity, but I'm very happy with the quality of what's happened. So thanks for watching, and look forward to seeing you next time.